give you some facts and figures, this actual workbench is the size of a full-size snooker table, just slightly small if I'm honest. But if you want to visualize the size of it, including the height, well, then just think full-size snooker table, all right? Hello everyone and welcome to part 4 of the Ultimate Workbench build. So today is all about the storage in the Ultimate Workbench. We've done part 1, which was the overview, all the features, all the tools, all the power tools, a whole walk around showing you the whole bench. Part 2 was all about the clamping, so that was the dog holes and the channels. Part 3 was the extraction and the cyclone system. This is part 4. I'm going to be going around the whole bench and show you what space we have left on the Ultimate Workbench for storage, drawers, open spaces, that kind of stuff, to store tools and other bits and pieces. So without wasting any time, let's get cracking. By the way, my 10-year-old son is holding the camera for me like he always does. Fabulous job. So if you want to leave a comment and say how great he is, if he's doing a great job, then leave a comment. We're going to start from the front, okay? So let's reverse. Beep, 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 beep. So you go back a little bit. We're going to start from this side, okay? So basically, we have got the table saw. It's taking up this amount of space. Have a look up the top, Bertie. Okay, so it's taken up a decent amount of space, okay? And the body of the table saw also needs somewhere to go. So if I move or open these up, you'll see the size that it's taken. But we've got a little bit of wasted space here, but we needed that for the arm to move the saw around and the extraction there. But we do have a lovely big drawer below it, okay? So although I could utilize that space, it's about 600 or 700 mil deep. I don't feel the need that I need to. I'm going to close those up and we're going to open this drawer up because it's a lovely big drawer for all the table saw accessories. So basically all the drawers are on standard runners. I've made the drawers or any drawers in this Ultimate Workbench as big as possible. So if we had 700 depth, we've probably got a 690 mil drawer. Okay, so that means we'd probably have a 600 mil runner. So the drawer wouldn't come out completely, but it would come out enough. So we've got a big old space here. I decided, well, the table saw took up that much space. We got a nice solid shelf for that to sit on. And then I thought, okay, well, we can utilize that for a nice big storage drawer. So look how far this actually sticks out. It sticks out quite a lot. And as you can see, all the drawers are made from MDF underneath, okay? I didn't want to go to the expense of using birch ply for the bottoms of the drawer, Bertie. So all the drawers, MDF inside, I quite like that look, to be honest. It's a bit more durable than the birch. And I didn't want to spend, I don't know, 300 or 400 quid on just 6 mil or 18 mil for the bottoms. I just thought, why? I'm not going to see them. No one else is going to see them. It looks beautiful from the outside. So every drawer is made like this, where it's the box. It's a birch ply box all the way around. Are you seeing this, Bertie? And then it's got an MDF bottom, and then it's got a separate fascia here. So this is separate to the drawer, which means when I fit the drawer, I can then place the fascia in, eye up, get that perfect, and then screw the fascia in from the back, getting the drawer fascia lined up on all the drawers. And that's how they all are, okay? And that's kind of like how I make my drawers anyway with my wardrobes. As you can see here, it's a new addition. What I did over the beginning of the year, I spent a whole 10 days just revamping the workbench. I put finger pull handles here. So all the drawers did have push release, but they just didn't line up. I had 8 drawers over there. You're going to see them in a minute. On both sides. And every time they were closed, some didn't click properly, some did, some didn't. And then the fascias all looked a bit higgledy-piggledy and didn't line up very nicely, and they really annoyed me. So I took all the push release runners off and I just changed them for standard runners. No fancy bits in it. It's just you pull them in, you pull them out. And that means I had to put a finger pull. So all of my fascias have got a finger pull design on there, and there is a video for this. So if you want to have a look to see how I made these really simply with a router table, have a look at that link right now because it's a really nice feature. I made them 2 inches wide by 20, just enough to get that in and out. So anyway, that is all the bits about how I built the drawers. Now let's show you what's in them all. In here is all the accessories for the table saw. Okay, we've got fences and mitre gauges and push sticks, and we've got angle finders for the saw blades, magnetic. loads more push sticks, all sorts of stuff for the table saw. So this basically services the table saw. Let's close that up and let's move around clockwise, okay? In this cupboard here, we decided it was the place for the vacuum. It was a trend vacuum at one stage because the Makita one packed up, the motor went on me. So I changed the motor, I put the Makita one back in. Although it's not a great vacuum, I would say go for the trend T35. And this is perfect for the whole extraction. But remember, part 3 was all about the extraction. So if you want to see about how all the extraction works on the Ultimate Workbench, go and check that video out. So it's a big open space. I designed one big open space for the vacuum. That's why we've got one big box. It goes exactly halfway of the bench in width. Anyway, let's move on to the next bit. So the next bit, we've got 2 full-size drawers, or I mean half-height drawers, should I say. I decided that I've got enough drawers over here, both sides. I wanted to just give myself a drawer or 2 drawers for bits like glue and stuff like that, tool bits, tooler. So in here, it's just used for filler and stuff like that and glue bottles. Not really utilised it perfectly for space because there's tons more, but I'm sure I'm going to fill that in the future. Yeah, so that is that one. And then I've got just odds and sods in this. I've got so much leftover space in the Ultimate Workbench. Then I decided, because my tool wall up there, I printed all of that up. If you want to see how I built that tool wall, have a look at this video. Absolutely awesome, and it will make you want to buy a 3D printer. So I've got lots of spares here for that, and a few leftover hand tools, which I don't want to put up there just yet. But again, 2 medium-sized drawers for tooler bits. Now moving on, okay, so we're not far off half of the workbench in width that takes over for all of our storage drawers. We've got the same on the other side, by the way. And I thought, okay, instead of just dividing them up into 4 equal spaces, I'll start with, say, 200, then 170, then 130, and then 100, something like that. I think I had a little equation to make them go up equally. So, you know, I had enough space of any height to fit in all the sections. That was my thinking behind it. So again, all standard runners, MDF bottoms, birch boxes with birch fascias with finger pulls. They're all the same. Full extension and standard runners. So we've got all our PPE in here. Okay, next drawer up is all my sanding bits and pieces, mainly from Amicus and Trends. Let's move our way up. Drawers get smaller. All 3D printed components. All screws, drill bits, biscuits, pencils, everything that we're going to need. Have a little look over there, Bertie. And these are all 3D printed again. This is one of my favourite drawers. Up the top, just all little mini clamps. Here we just got our mats, our non-sliding mats, and we've got our cloths that we cut up for polishing and all sorts. And then we got bin liners and stuff like that. As you can see they're all kind of like nicely lined up now. They may need a little tweak because they haven't been tweaked since I fitted them. Biscuits, chisels, odds and sods, stuff that we use generally all the time. Oh, a new thing that we got recently was a trolley. I just thought I'm going to trial the trolley. Okay, maybe I'm going to make a little video of why I want to use that trolley in the workshop to help with the flow of the workbench. Anyway, come around here. We got the same, Bertie. Looking around here, we've got all the iron-on edging stuff, the Veratex edger, the AG98F, hinging, sharpening. There's a sharpener in there. Spare drawer. See, we've got lots of spare drawers. And this is how much space this workbench gives us. I find that everything needs a place and a place for everything. As you can see, the workshop's spick and span. That's the way I like it. Pocket hole jigs, and we use this drawer kind of like for storing bits and pieces that are going to be fitted on the job relatively soon. Empty. Trend, discs, all sorts. So it looks like there's lots, but there's all different types in here. We've got detail, we've got third sheets, we've got detail sanding pads, we've got orbital sanding pads and sponges. And then up here, saw blades. Okay, a lot of these are just empty boxes, by the way. They're not all saw blades, but it looks cool. Yeah, moving on. So that is the drawer systems, basically. As you can see, we've still got tons of space. Even in the drawers, we've still got tons. But this is what the Ultimate Workbench does for us. It just means that we just freed up so much space in the whole entire workshop. All our tools are in here, all our machines are in here, all our screws are in here, glue, sanding pads, everything. I don't need cabinets anywhere else. Right, so moving on, we haven't got that much more storage, but let's just go over quickly what's in here. We got the chop saw. Okay, this is a video to come. That's on a scissor lift that will poke up the top. We have got a compressor, silent compressor. Got video on this as well. Probably one of the best tools that I've got, machines that I've got for a budget. We've got a planer thicknesser. I say planer thicknesser, it's a thicknesser. So that will just flap down and we can plane material across and let the dust fall on the floor. We haven't got extraction for that, unfortunately. And this is one of my favorites also because it's such a small space. It was only 100 deep. No, saying that, tell a lie. It was only about 70 deep, but it was just perfect for grout cutters and spanners and collets and accessories and blades and stuff like that. Everything that we're going to need for routering and router table. As you can see, we've got the Jessen router table, the router lift at the top. So everything that we're going to need here. By the way, don't go anywhere apart from Trends. Trends are the greatest at saw blades and cutters. Trust me, there are no better places to go. So if you do want cutters and blades, yeah, that is the place to be. So anyway, come around here, Bertie, we've got one last section, and in here, I mean, technically it could have been used for storage, but as you can see here, we've got a box, and this was last week's video, I believe. This was part 3, the extraction and the cycling system. It's a little bit dusty. Didn't prepare it for the video. But that is the storage on the Ultimate Workbench. As you can see, it's being utilised. Every inch of space is being utilised. Before I go, I want to show you one more thing that I want to do to the bench, which I could to improve storage. Come around here, Bertie. We've got this. Do you remember seeing the router cutters on that side? We only had 60, 70 mil. Well, we've got about 75 mil space here, which I may put in some shelves here and possibly some doors, maybe not doors, but at least shelves for screw boxes and stuff like that. It's got to look nice. That is my motto in life. Anything. There's no point banging in an MDF shelf or just get a box or a cupboard from your old kitchen and chuck it in your workshop. I hate that. Everything's got to look nice. Sound a bit anal, but I think it's the way to be. It makes you feel good looking at what you built. You know, it's like a work of art for me, this workbench. Although it's starting to get a little bit of wear and tear. As you can see, we've got a few scratches on the worktop. We've got a bit of paint here and there. But Sean cleaned it up for me just before he left. And he left it nice and clean for me to show you the potential of this workbench. So if you come around here, Bertie, if you have a look around there, and we'll finish the video off next. Well, we'll finish the video off here. So we've done the clamping, we've done the extraction, we've done the storage, we've got the thicknesser, we've got the compressor, we've got the chop saw, and we've got the table saw, we've got the router table left to go, and a few other bits and pieces. What do you guys want to see next? Anything in particular? Can you tell me if I can update this? Can I tweak it? Can I make it better? Let me know. Leave a comment. Don't forget to leave a comment. And if you are liking my content, why not become a member? Lots of time and effort goes into this, and I have to pay my son about, how much is it, Bertie? 10 quid? Don't tell him that. Yeah, I've got to pay him 10 quid. Right, guys, so Bertie didn't press the record button on the outro. So I'm doing it now whilst I actually just noticed there's no outro. You can see I'm editing right now on the laptop. So thank you for watching. Have a great Friday. I'll see you part 5. We don't know what that is just yet. We're going to wait for the comments to find out what we're going to be filming next week. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Ciao for now.